workshops that you're interested in. So with that being said, again, this is the last day of Black History Month, February 28th, and it's going to lead us into Women's History Month. But it's wonderful that this work is being supported by the school district, and we look forward to continue keeping it going and keeping this work moving. And the support from folks and the involvement of folks and your engagement is what's making all this wonderful, positive work possible. With that being said, I'm going to pass this to my colleague real quick, Ms. Debbie Way, to say some words about what tonight's event is and has came from and derived from, and Debbie has been the brainchild behind this. So, Debbie.
Hey, everyone. I'm the newest member of the social studies team, and I want to give a shout out there to Shaquita, who's also online over there. So there's three of us, a mighty group of three, anchoring social studies for the school district. And I just joined January 3rd. So one of the first things that Ishmael hit me with was, hey, we're doing all this stuff for Black History Month. I don't have anything for younger students. So I took that on and wanted to find a children's book that would be like an all cities read children's book. I've done K to 12, and I've always felt drawn to children's books, even for working with adults, because when well written, children's books present things that can be used across that age spectrum, and that speak to folks at different developmental levels. As I started looking, I came across Zetta's amazing book, A Place Inside of Me. And I said, this is perfect because it's a poem. And poetry is one of those things that does work across a wide age range. You know, I'm painfully aware that we're just hitting the 10-year mark since Trayvon Martin's death. And so Black Lives Matter has been something that we, you know, been living with for as long as this country has existed, and really started taking off at, you know, the organization Black Lives Matter being formed in response to ongoing violence. Zetta's book speaks to that, the tragedy of what's happening in the community, but in a way that it actually ends with hope. And she says it is a poem to heal the heart. And as I thought about what our teachers and what our young people have gone through in the past few years, we nationally, it's been as Tamara says, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. It's been pretty crazy the past few years nationally. And then we had COVID. And so young people are trying to process a lot of their emotions around both, you know, crazy politics and a rise in racism. We have states now that are calling for burning books, that are banning a number of books, including Ruby Bridges's autobiography, and calling for a ban of this particular book. We're really happy. We purchased 1,000 books for the schools, all, and these were by request. You had to ask me, and I will send you a book. Book. We sent out books. All 1,000 are gone. To just about 300 teachers across the school district who really wanted this book in their classrooms and really wanted children to experience the book. So I'm really thrilled that all of you who are here tonight will also get to experience this book and experience Zetta's amazing power to use poetry as a source of healing at a time when we really need it. So, Ishmael, is there anything else? Anything I forgot? Or Shaquita? if,
it was beautiful. And I just really want to applaud identifying this book, and say that, you know, I actually met Zeta a couple years ago at a fish fry event that we were holding for the Philadelphia Black History Collaborative, just randomly. And immediately I was drawn just to her energy and her ability to like come out and support something, right? She didn't know me personally or anything. She came with a friend because she wanted to support the work. So even tonight, she's doing this to support the work. She is not getting paid for this. So I just really want to emphasize how wonderful she is. And of course, I want her to speak for herself. So Debbie, I don't know if you want to formally introduce Zeta real quick.
well, I mean, here's Zeta Elliott. Zeta.
That is as formal as we need to get, y'all. Thank you so much for welcoming me here this evening. Oh, it's such a pleasure to be with you on the last day of Black History Month. And I have to say, the past couple of weeks, you know, finding out that there are attempts to ban this book in Virginia, that was really disheartening. I was listening to Casey Lehman and Jason Reynolds talk about how they felt when their books were banned, and they said, you know, it hurts my feelings because this is my book. And I thought, it doesn't hurt my feelings because, you know, I don't know you and you don't know me. And there was a big part of me that was just like, I'm going to lay low. I am not going to jump in on this. A teacher flagged me on social media twice, and I was just like, let me just wait and see what's going to happen. But then I thought, you know what, when we stand back and don't say anything, it's the kids that suffer. And I wrote this book for those kids. And so my op-ed should be running pretty soon. And now they're the folks in the community who are against book banning are starting a book festival. And I might be the featured guest once we figure out some security. I don't know if that's an open carry state, but yeah, I want to be careful when I go down there. But anyway, this is a poem to heal the heart. And so what I thought we would do this evening is I'm going to start by reading the book. I'm going to share my screen twice, so I'll share it to read the book. And then I will share a slideshow, which will take us through some warm-ups and some word games, and then get us ready to write some poems. So my workshop is entitled Black Feelings Matter, Writing Poetry to Heal the Heart. You know, whenever I sign books for kids, I always write, honor all of your emotions. So while I am reading this book to you, I'm sure it will not be difficult for you to imagine which particular emotion is being objected to by some conservative folks in Mechanicsville, Virginia. So thank you everyone for coming out tonight. In the evening, some of you who have been working all day, teaching all day, God bless you. And give me just a second. Here we go. Sometimes this doesn't work the first time, and so I have to try it again. No, that did not work. Okay, sorry. I think that did work. Can I see a thumbs up from someone? You can see the screen. All right, thank you. I'm going to minimize this now. All right, A Place Inside of Me, a poem to heal the heart. This is a poem that I wrote 20 years ago. I wrote it actually not that long after Amadou Diallo was shot and killed, an unarmed African immigrant in New York City, shot and killed by 4 plainclothes policemen. And at the time that I wrote it, I thought it might work as a picture book, almost sort of as a calendar, really. Like, it didn't feel like a narrative to me. And it wasn't until 20 years later when I met my editor, Grace Kendall, who said, you know, I think we could turn this into a narrative through the illustrations. And the first illustrator we picked backed out. And the second illustrator, Noah Denman, what a blessing to have her working on this book. It is her debut, and she won the Caldecott Honor Award, which I did predict. As soon as I saw her illustrations, I just knew she was going to win pretty much the highest prize for children's illustration. So it is a poem to heal the heart. I think it's very interesting, if you can remember what the cover of the book looks like, that the challenge to this book in Virginia came, I believe, because a child checked out the book from their school library thinking it was a book about skateboards. So I think we need to do some work around visual literacy and regular literacy down in Mechanicsville. But at any rate, the subtitle, A Poem to Heal the Heart, is really a clue to what this book is about and my intention in writing it.
Muted.
Zeta, you muted yourself.
Sorry, I didn't touch anything, but okay, thank you for letting me know. Please let me know if it happens again. Zion is the young nephew of a Tatiana Jefferson, who was an African-American woman, was playing video games at home with her nephew in Fort Worth. And a neighbor, African-American, called the non-emergency line of the police to say the front door of their home was open and could someone come and check. And the police arrived, guns drawn, circled the house and shot into the house and killed Tatiana in front of her nephew. And so my dedication is for Zion and all the children who miss the hand they used to hold. Trust that you will laugh again and love again once your heart has had time to heal. And this book, at the time Noah was living in Philadelphia, I was also living in Philadelphia. And so I'm really happy that the illustrations reflect that. There is a place inside of me, a space deep down inside of me where all my feelings hide. They wait there in the darkness, a knot of electric emotion, seething, sizzling, burning, until I find the strength to reach inside. I just moved to Chicago not that long ago, and I have to say, one of the things I miss about Philadelphia is the mural art that is everywhere. And I was so happy that Noah captured that in the book. There is joy inside of me, a happiness deep down inside of me that glows bright and warm as the sun and shines delight on everything I see. There is sorrow inside of me, a sadness deep down inside of me that is cold and dark as a watery grave at the bottom of the sea. Now, generally, when an illustrator is selected for a picture book, they're kept away from the author. We're not supposed to have any sort of input on the illustrations, but I was really lucky that my editor gave me a lot of opportunities to give feedback. And one of the things I asked of Noah was that there be an image of the slave ship on the wall of the barber shop. And so you see it's right there next to the television screen that's reporting that a young woman has been shot by police. There is fear inside of me, a terror deep down inside of me that stalks me like a sinister shadow and seeps like poison into my dreams. For this illustration, I requested an image of the boy standing at the window of his house, which was hopefully be reminiscent of the image of Malcolm X standing at the window of his home. Of course, in that picture, he's holding a rifle because he and his family are being terrorized. But we got a picture of Malcolm on the bedroom wall and the red and blue lights to suggest that there's a police car outside, which does not make the boy feel safe. There is anger inside of me, a fury deep down inside of me that is sharp enough to slice through air, flesh, bone, and concrete. And yet, there is hunger inside of me, a yearning deep down inside of me that refuses to be silenced or bound with chains and insists on being free. Love this image of the boy looking out over his community and seeing everyone playing together peacefully. Ooh. There is pride inside of me, no shame deep down inside of me, for I know how long and hard we have struggled, and against all odds, my people have emerged strong, triumphant, and beautiful. And hopefully it is not February at this child's school. Hopefully it's any other month of the year and they're celebrating Black excellence. And we have, excuse me, of course, Jackie Robinson, Dr. King, Beyonce, the Supremes, Maya Angelou, Malcolm X, Louis Armstrong, and Mae Jemison, first Black women astronaut. And what Noah did on this page was she started with sort of the younger generation and then moved backwards and into the pinkish red section. You can see she went back to her African ancestors. And these are actually some of her relatives that she used as models for the picture. There is peace inside of me, a calm deep down inside of me that flows through my soul like a tranquil stream and hushes my whispering doubts. There is compassion inside of me, a tenderness deep down inside of me that tries to heal the wounds of the past and to forgive in spite of the lingering pain. There is still hope inside of me, a promise deep down inside of me that I will use my life to help others and they will help me in return. For there is love inside of me, true love deep down inside of me. I am in love with my people, all people, plus trees, sparrows, sunlight, and the rain that falls like a blessing from above. And when I look inside of me to that place deep down inside of me, I remember to love myself most of all. All right. So is there anyone who would care to share, excuse me, why they think the book is being challenged, or which particular spread, which particular emotion is being objected to? You can either unmute if you want or put it in the chat. Anger, Tiffany, thank you. So the county supervisor said most of the book was fine, but the page in which the boy attends a protest rally after a girl in his community has been shot by police is not acceptable and is a form of indoctrination and is anti-police because there are faceless police officers present at the rally. And I just think, wow, you know, like, you can't honestly imagine how children who have experienced and witnessed, I mean, every child I think in this country knows something about George Floyd, if not all the other individuals, Breonna Taylor, so many that we could name, that have been recorded and displayed in the media over and over and over again. To think that Zion, a child who was playing with his aunt when she was shot by police at home, wouldn't have a right to be angry at misconduct, right? It's not, we're angry at the police, it's we're angry at police brutality. We are angry that when we call the people who are meant to protect and serve, they do not show up for us. We are entitled to our rage. Children are entitled to their rage. They're entitled to every emotion that they experience. So let's talk some more about emotions, but in poetry, in verse. All right, I'm going to share my screen again. Hopefully just once this time. And let's see if I can get it to work. All right. I hope that works. Everyone can see that. I'm not muted. Okay. Black Feelings Matter, writing poems to heal the heart. For this activity, you are going to need a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil, something to write with. This is word association. Some of you educators may use this in your classroom already. I find it a really fun word game that gets the ideas flowing. I'm going to ask you to write the numbers 1 to 10 down your margin. Wait for the prompt. And that will be a word, one word on the next slide. And I'm going to ask you to write down whatever pops into your head. The goal is for you to write as quickly as possible and not to censor yourself. So whatever comes into your head that you connect or associate with that word, write it down. I'm going to give you 60 seconds. I've got my stopwatch here on my phone. But if you can get more than 10 words, keep going until I say time's up, and then we'll figure out a way to share either through the chat or by unmuting. So just don't write anything down now. I'll just give you an example. If I said school, you might write down mask, remote, pandemic, chaotic, cafeteria, stress, vacation, mental health day. You could write down anything that came into your mind. Abbott Elementary, that has been giving me some laughs lately. Okay, so I guess I'll check the chat in case that's a question. All right, we're good. So you have 60 seconds, 1 minute to write down as many words as you can that you associate with joy. Joy. What are the things that bring you joy? What's your happy place? Where's your happy place? Are there foods that bring you joy? Are there colors that you associate with joy? People, holidays, experiences, songs? Nothing's off limits. Okay, you've got 30 seconds left. Remember, if you can get more than 10 words, keep going. I always tend to start with chocolate, cupcakes, and some other form of sugar. But when you really think about it, it's quite often relationships that make us happy. 10 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, that is time. I'm going to open up the chat so I can see what folks have to say. If you would like to put 3 or 4 words in the chat, feel free. You can also unmute if you prefer and share 3 or 4 words, things that make you happy. No days off for 6 weeks. Peace. Family, chocolate, and volunteering. Thank you, Denise. Beach music and holidays. Yes, love. Absolutely. Laughter, food, and family. Friends, family, and parties. Hey, prayer, beach, pound cake. Yes, music. Laughing, hug, family, fleeting. God give it. My job because I get paid. Sunshine, hugging, dancing, selflessness, and selfishness. Interesting, Marquise. Family, nature, all the dogs, cookouts, flowers, my grandma, love, liberation, loud hip hop music, birthday, friends, family, cooking, music, games, writing, music, family, lots of people with family, pyramids, swimming, rain, sunshine, warmth, family, peace, daughter, laughter, wine. I always love the combinations. Daydreaming, yes. Love and family. That's excellent. Closeness, coffee, and tacos. Hey. Is it Tuesday? Tomorrow, but it doesn't have to be Tuesday to have tacos. Seafood, game nights, yes, Scrabble. Vacation, daydreaming, nature, friends, summer, good memories, basketball, my birthday, my guinea pig. She's so fat and cute. I love it. All right, and home. Okay, y'all, this is good. We are warmed up. This joy that I have, the world didn't give to me. They can't take it. All right. Lorena, I hope I'm saying your name right. You are ready. I think we're all ready to start writing some poems. Now, if we were together in a classroom, I would have written all of your words up on the board. We'd have a big word cloud. And then we'd have vocabulary to help us write our poems. But you all have words in front of you. There's also words in the chat, so you're good. We are going to talk about some tools of the trade, which are things I keep in my writer's toolbox that I take with me everywhere. It's not a real toolbox, but I keep these tools inside and they help me to make my writing a bit more interesting. So a simile is something that I used in A Place Inside of Me. You might have noticed a couple. A simile compares 2 things using like or as. Excuse me, an example, your smile sweet as cotton candy. You can use similes to enhance your writing, make it a little fancy, fill in the blanks for the following words, and then try adding a simile to your next poem. Once you get used to seeing similarities between things, it won't be too hard to develop metaphors for your writing as well. Now, I took these descriptions from my workbook, Find Your Voice, which is going to be available to you in the chat. So keep an eye out for that. There'll be a link for you to download it. All right, so here's one of the illustrations from A Place Inside of Me that contains a simile. There is joy inside of me, a happiness deep down inside of me that glows bright and warm as the sun and shines delight on everything I see. There's another one on the very next page. There is sorrow inside of me, a sadness deep down inside of me that is cold and dark as a watery grave at the bottom of the sea. All right, so we can see how we're comparing two things using like or as. You now have a chance to make your own simile. I'm going to open the chat up again. Just make that a little bit smaller. Can you please give me some things that are sweet? Sweet as, oh, I can see Debbie has added the link to download the workbook if you'd like it. Yes, Santino, sweet as pie, sweet as mother's sweet potato pie, even sweeter, sweet as cotton candy. Yep, sweet as sugar, sweet as being Canadian. I have to say sweet as maple syrup, sweet as a mango martini. Yum. Mom's sun-baked tea, sweetened tea. I love it. Oh, sweet as my baby's smile, sweet as chocolate. Yes, sweet as a newly peeled orange, sweet as me. Very nice. Sweet as a lollipop. All right, this is very good. We're off to a good start. Sweet as the sugary candy that rots your teeth. Spoil sport. Thanks, Ish. All right, how about hot? Hot like the sun, definitely. Feels like it's getting hotter and hotter. Hot like climate change. Hot like summer days, yes. Egyptian sand, ooh, I like that specificity. A frying pan over the hot stove, yes, those specks of oil that go flying. The third floor classrooms in August, yes, hot like spicy food. Hot like the school forgot to turn on heat on a May Day. Ooh, hot like my face in shame. Very nice, Tiffany. Hot as the passionate that ignites. Ooh, hot as a jalapeno. Thank you. Very good. Hot as sriracha, some hot sauce. Hot like jerk chicken. Yes, the Scotch bonnet peppers. Ooh, hot like a cup of cocoa. Excellent. All right, I'm going to move us forward. Soft as. Give me something that's soft. A baby's butt, Soft as a cloud, very nice, Mario. Soft as her gentle touch, nice. Soft as a kitten's paw, soft as a pillow, soft as my hands. Soft as a whisper in the wind, very nice, Debbie. Soft as my 105-year-old grandmother's skin. Woo, go grandma, she used her lotion. Soft as, anything else? A feather. Soft as warm blankets, right? Towels just out of the dryer. Soft like when I get to see my godson smile, that's sweet. Soft as an expensive bed, as opposed to, oh yes, soft as freshly baked bread. Absolutely. Yum, now I'm getting hungry. Soft as a whisper. Beautiful. All right, I'm gonna move us forward to sharp. Sharp as. Sharp as a knife, good. An angry tongue, excellent. Sharp as a dagger, hurtful words, yes. An insult, sharp as a talon. A rumor, whoo, good. Sharp as cut eye could kill. Sharp as Malcolm's mind, very nice. Sharp as a razor. Sharp as an emotional response, okay. A Sunday suit, ooh, yes. That's another way to think about what looks sharp. All right, I think we're ready for our last one. This one's a bit harder. Gentle as. What's gentle? Gentle as a mother, okay. A lullaby, yeah. Bubbles, very nice. A cool breeze, very nice. A wave lapping against the shore. Baby soap, a summer breeze, a cool breeze while cruising on the Nile. Gentle as speaking to my younger self when she needs comfort. Wow, that's powerful. Gentle as soft fur, as a peaceful dream, my lover's caress. Woo, you all are definitely ready to write some poetry. A mindful breath, very good. All right, I am going to tuck the chat away for a second. Gentle as a sleeping baby, good, good. All right, apologies if I miss your chat. I'll come back and open this up in a second. I'm just going to do another very quick tool of the trade, alliteration. A little alliteration is the repetition of an initial consonant sound, like summer sun, salty sea, cotton candy, flip flop. You can use alliteration to create a pleasing effect for the reader of your poem. I wrote a haiku, a Japanese poem that I liked, but then I revised it to add more alliteration. I actually wrote this poem about Philly and it was read on the radio, Philly NPR. So the first time I wrote it, wind chimes and church bells cleanse the air. In the gutter, blossoms mixed with grit, which was okay. But then I went back and, made a couple of changes. Wind chimes and church bells baptize us. In the gutter, blossoms blanket grit. Okay, so the first time you write a poem, you're just trying to get all your emotion out, your feeling out, your ideas out. And then you can go back and say, hey, maybe I could tweak this a little to make it a bit fancier, to add sort of a different oral, an effect that you can hear when you're reading it, that you can sort of feel on your tongue when you're saying the words. All right, so now you are ready to make a poem about joy. You can aim for 4 stanzas, but you know what? 2 stanzas, that's fine. Also, I decided to do a free verse poem because free verse poems have no rules. That's my favorite kind of poem. I don't have capital letters. I don't have punctuation. It doesn't rhyme. I centered it instead of having it along the left side of the page. So joy is warm as a hug from my grandma. Joy is golden like daffodils dozing in spring sunshine. Joy is holy as the voices of my people singing hymns on Sunday. Joy makes every burden easier to bear. All right, it's your turn. I'm going to set the stopwatch for 2 minutes, which is not a lot of time to write a poem. So please keep in mind that this is a rough draft. I would love it if folks would like to share their poem at the end of the 2 minutes, but if you just want to keep it to yourself and work on it later, that's cool too. If you just want to give us the first stanza that you came up with, that's also all right. You can start with a color if you want. Joy is red as the roses in my garden. You can start with very basic. Joy is the sensation of sugar when I bite into a cupcake. You can really do anything you want. That's the great thing about poetry. And you don't have to write it the way that I did, with joy at the beginning of every stanza. Okay, that's been a couple of minutes. Would folks like a bit more time? Or do we have anybody who's ready to share? See, folks look like they're still writing. Okay, so let's take a few more minutes. Ishmael, is that you volunteering to read your poem?
Yeah, do you mind?
No, not at all. Let's see. Do we have any other folks who are ready and willing to share their poem? All right, well, let's have our intrepid leader go first, and maybe that will inspire some folks. Oh, good. We have Lorena too. Oh, good. We've got a few people. All right, so let's start with Ish.
Thank you. Don't judge me. I'm not a poet.
All love here, all love. And you remember, folks, right, that when you hear a good poem, we give up some snaps, right? Okay.
Wonderful. Liberation is fleeting as a dream deferred. Liberation is necessary like life. Liberation is piercing pain experienced by our ancestors. Liberation is now, despite the news.
Wow, powerful. Thank you very much. The agony of our ancestors, love it. Not the agony, but the alliteration, thank you. All right, Lorena, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Are you gonna unmute and read yours, or do you wanna put it in the chat?
Sure, you actually said it right the first time, which most people don't. It's long.
Okay, good.
Thank you. Joy is my grandmother singing this joy that I have. Joy is like a Saturday afternoon cookout in July with my jimmies from Mr. Softy dripping.
Hmm.
Seeing the sun, joy is being reminded that the sun is a reminder of God's promises. Joy is the blossoming of the spring flowers and the sustainability of my ZZ plant. I am my dad's joy.
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow, the range of things that you covered there. But boy, it makes me wish winter would be over soon. I'm ready for summer.
Softy. I'm yeah.
I might be going for ice cream tonight. I know it's cold here in Chicago, but somehow that just makes me feel like summer's coming. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right, we had Destiny. You still ready? No. Shaquita, you gonna try yours?
I can, although those were so good. Now I'm like I want to edit.
These are all rough drafts, right? We're just putting it down.
All right. Let's see. Joy is the laugh that sings so sweetly. Joy is the warm as the beach between my toes. Joy is food, fellowship, and friendship. Joy is love, and love is joy.
Very nice. Those F words, food, fellowship, and friendship. Beautiful. Thank you so much. I want some sand between my toes sooner rather than later. Yes, you can definitely type yours in the chat, Destiny. Please do. What is the topic of the poem? Jerry, we're focusing on joy, but you can write about anything you want. All right. Denise, you have 2 stanzas. You ready to share?
I am.
Good.
Joy is a family around the dinner table, laughing, sharing, making memories. Joy is chocolate, smooth, tasty, and addictive, always wanting more.
Very nice. Making memories. I like that combination. Something you can do with others, chocolate you can do on your own, unless you're generous enough to share. I'm not. Okay, who else have we got? Oh, here's Destiny's. Joy is hot like summer days. Joy is as soft as warm blankets at the dryer. Joy is as gentle as a baby puppy. Joy is as sweet as hot cocoa under a fire. Joy makes your life more at peace. Whew. Thank you, Destiny. A puppy, some cocoa, a fire. Sounds very cozy. Thank you. All right, I see some hands up. Daninia, apologies if I mispronounced your name.
That's okay. It's Danina.
Danina, sorry.
Joy is music with a perfect melody. Joy is laughter, a nectar for the soul, sweet as confections, creative juices flowing, pouring into others and getting poured into, splashed with hope and happiness. Here lies joy.
Wow, that is fantastic. I love that you could pour it and it's nectar. We've got some personification happening there, which we're going to talk about in a second. Very nice. All right, Jerry, I see another hand up. Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Joy is an amazing feeling that love is a gift. Joy is a gift from God. It is what makes you leap from the inside out.
Ooh, I love that. And I can just imagine how you put the word on the page, inside out. Very nice. Very nice. Oh, Debbie, you're not going to read yours? I can read it. It's in the chat.
Oh, I guess I can read it.
Okay.
Joy calls to me in my darkest hour, like a flicker of light on the darkest night. Joy sings wild, whooping without shame, noisy as my family dinner when we're full and mischievous. Joy lies down quietly by my side like a breeze gently cooling my hot, hot skin. Joy saves me from all that seeks to defeat my soul, lifting me above the storm.
Wow. So basically I could have called in sick and Debbie could have led the workshop. Nobody told me Debbie was a poet. Those social studies people, you got to watch them. They're all closet writers. Thank you so much. That was lovely. Do we have anyone else who'd like to share? Tiffany, are you going to unmute or do you want me to read it? Please read it. All right. Joy is the honey that glides off the tip of the spoon in a long amber drip. Joy is the fat baby arm laying across my neck, heavy. Oh, that's beautiful. Really specific and descriptive. Woo, that long amber drip and 2 different kinds of sweetness, right? Because if that baby's arm is heavy, they're probably sleeping. So very nice. Loud kids here. That's okay. Your poetry came across loud and clear. That's beautiful. Anybody else who'd like to share? Poem about joy. How are we doing for time? All right. Okay, so you can also share in our second round. I'm going to minimize this and close the chat for now. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing. We are going to do another warm up because we are going to do another poem. So you know how it works. You've got your piece of paper, pen or pencil, numbers 1 to 10 down your margin. You're going to wait for the prompt, which is on the next screen. And you're going to write down whatever pops into your head. Now, this one for real, don't censor yourself. Even if you don't want to share the word out loud, that's okay, but still give yourself permission to write it down, okay? All right, you have 1 minute to write down as many words as you can that pop into your head when you think about. Isn't it advancing? Rage. What makes you mad? It's not too hard these days. You could turn on the news and get quite mad quite quickly. Probably some stuff on your job makes you mad. It's quite often a sense of things that are unfair. I remember someone saying to me once that the core of rage is pain. So what is it that hurts us, that sometimes comes out as anger? Okay, you've got 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right, let me find the chat again. Anybody like to share 3 or 4 words, things that came into your mind when you thought about rage? Frustration, disappointment, yeah, racism, lies. Excuses, liars, and fragility. Over and over, the repetition, right? Sick and tired of being sick and tired, silencing, neglect. Yeah. Misinformation, no progress, hypocrisy, invisibility, yeah. Trapped, stuck, left out, absolutely. Exclusion, hiding the truth, backstabbing, two-faced, and red, that's the color. Police, social media, my family, me too, beauty standards, and people's lack of respect and manner. Especially with the pandemic, folks' manners seem to have gone out the window. Poverty, absolutely, because so often that's about injustice. Betrayal, systemic. Entitlement, yes. Privilege, folks who can't see their privilege. Audacity, ooh, wrong. Gaslighting, yes, and contradiction. Yeah. Pain, frustration, willful ignorance. What's the remedy for rage? Do we even need one? Is it wrong to think about individual students who act out of rage? It's not wrong at all. It's not wrong at all, because we quite often know that when students act out of rage, they're hurting, right? We know there's something going on deep inside. Losing your train of thought, yep, menopause brain over here. Indifference, lack of love, what we experience daily across settings, yeah. Under-resourced, hoarding, lovelessness, yeah. Apathy. Teens and their potty mouths. Judgments, immorality, unfortunate, forgetting why I walked into a room, yep, why I opened that tab on my browser, exploitation, hypocrisy, rigged systems, the myth of meritocracy, that drives me nuts. War, absolutely. Warmongers, Not being understood. That's incredibly frustrating. Yeah. Yeah. And being willfully misunderstood. Why is everything tied to our skin color? All right. That can be really limiting and misleading. Being degraded, bullying. Being loaded with too much work and not enough time. Absolutely. I get so angry at the amount of money athletes are paid. And then having somebody justify it and say they work hard. Busy work for no reason. Yes. People who hit reply all on emails when they don't need to. Meetings that could have been an email. All right, let me stop. Must work twice as hard and still no equality. That special tax some of us have to pay. That part. Dead ends. Minimum wage. Yeah. Because believe it or not, $15 is not enough to live on if we even get to that. Failing to have motivation to follow your dreams. Interesting. Yeah. A lot of people who talk a good game about their dreams, but psychological wages of whiteness, still struggling. CYA bureaucracy instead of putting kids first. Sure. Sure. Folks who care more about image, more about style than substance. All right, we could do this all day. I think I better stop you there. Sexism, yes. All right, misogynoir. I'm gonna close the chat just for now. Apologies if I missed anyone's. One more tool of the trade we can add to the other two, alliteration and similes that we've already looked at, is personification, when you give human attributes or characteristics to an animal or an object or an emotion, which is what we're gonna do. Examples might be: the sun kissed my face, the wind whistled through the trees, joy wraps me in a tender embrace. Okay, so we're looking at action words, verbs generally. And an example from the book would be: there is fear inside of me, a terror deep down inside of me that stalks me like a sinister shadow and seeps like poison into my dreams. So he feels as if he's being hunted by terror. Okay. So I wrote a couple of poems very quickly about rage. I can definitely tell these are rough drafts. And you know what? I wrote this first poem and then I was like, I don't even know if that's true. Rage boils my blood and blinds my eyes. I flee from my own fury, fumbling for the key that can unlock the calm my heavy heart craves. Your tender touch soothes my soul. It is your voice, gentle as a lullaby, that calls me by my name, guiding me back to my truest self. The reason I wasn't sure that poem felt honest, or maybe was dishonest, it's like, why am I saying my truest self is the self that isn't angry? You know, like, I can appreciate that when I get angry, I don't see clearly. And it helps to have someone say, all right, let's sit down and think about this. And it especially helps when someone can say, I think you're actually hurting. Tell me what hurts. You're angry about X, Y, and Z, but tell me what actually hurts. And then I wrote this next poem, which I called Freedom. Rage is the spark that lights the fire, that starts the blaze that will burn this prison to the ground. All right, it's your turn. Take the words that you came up with in word association, take some of the tools of the trade that we've been discussing, and write your own poem about rage. I'm going to set the stopwatch for 5 minutes, and then I'll check in with folks. Okay, that's 2.5 minutes. So we'll have another couple of minutes and then I'll check in with, see if there are any volunteers that want to share. All right, looks like we have one volunteer who's ready to share. I'll give folks a little bit more time to finish up. Okay, you're gonna type it, okay. All right, so we've got another person in the chat who has typed theirs. So I'm gonna go ahead and read that. That is 5 minutes, which is not a lot of time to write a poem, but hopefully folks had a chance to get some feelings down. So Destiny has given us, being degraded because of skin makes me rage. Hearing slurs about my people makes me rage. Being treated like animals makes me rage. It boils me that my people have to encounter this. That makes me rage. Rage is a feeling that no one should feel. Maybe this poem will make you heal. Nice little rhyme at the end. Thank you very much, Destiny. I like the repetition. That creates a nice rhetorical effect as well. Judith says, excuse me, rage makes my skin boil as I hear the call of the ancestors in the slave dungeons. Rage makes me feel the shame, fear, guilt, anger that forces red blood to run across the transatlantic to Philly, Chicago, and to these yet United States. Woo. Blood is running across the ocean. Thank you. Wow. Anybody want to follow that? We've got some powerful poets here. Any volunteers? Yes, Jerry, great.
Okay, so I did a little bit of like an acronym. So rage, I could explode with rage, R-A-G-E. Real anger, gonna explode. Misunderstood and misplaced emotion. What do you do with the anger you feel? I choose to vent and take it out on myself. Why won't you just let yourself go? Why won't you give them a piece of your mind? Because my mind is mine. Instead, I turn to my God and myself. Get in touch with yourself. Rage, real anger, getting evolved.
Ooh. And that shows an actual evolution of thought over the course of the poem. Very nice, Jerry. All right. Oh, Debbie has added hers. Debbie, are you going to read yours?
Yeah, I kind of cheated a little because I wrote a really angry poem before, but this is an excerpt.
Thank you. That's okay.
Give me your tired, your poor, but please make sure they are not the black, the brown, the yellow, the non-Christian, the not too poor, the ones who don't speak English. Who cares if our bombs, our economic policies, our insatiable greed, and our false promises brought them here? Look me in the eye and say you don't belong here. And now, when you hear our rage, as you stand on indigenous land, look me in the eye and say, if you don't like it here, why don't you go back?
Powerful. Ah, the contradiction, those fictions we hear and are told or taught about this country versus the reality. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. Oh, any other volunteers who would like to share? Ishmael, yes.
Yes. I'm sorry, you got me in my bag. It's wonderful. So here it goes. Rage makes me not want to forgive. Rage activates my fearful rage, wearing down on my soul. Rage makes me want not to wait. Rage will be needed to free us all.
Yeah, that's a really provocative ending, right? Because is the path to liberation through rage? We're told constantly, especially when we're children, that we're not allowed to express our anger. And especially for kids of color, there's no place for that rage. That's one of the things that's going to get you kicked out of the classroom. That's going to get you in trouble with the authorities. But what if rage is actually righteous? What if rage is right? I remember June Jordan saying rage has lost its respectability. Like, who created those fictions that said anger, there's no place for anger, right? Well, if that's tone policing, if you can't have a civil tone. And then, so as a Black woman, I trained myself to have a very civil tone. And then it's, you're angry. Why are you so angry? I can't talk to you when you're angry, etc. Yeah, very interesting. All right, is that Sanaya? Apologies if I'm mispronouncing. Do you want me to read that? Yes. Rage is what I feel when I'm looked down on because of my gender and race. My rage is like a stack of TNT waiting to explode. Rage is nothing but my pain fighting to escape my mind. Rage is what I feel when I can't be seated in a decent seat because I'm Black. Rage is what you feel when I force myself to be what everyone wants me to be. Absolutely. The price of inauthenticity, right? When people are sad, they don't do anything. They just cry over their condition. But when they get angry, they bring about a change. Malcolm, of course. Of course. I've been thinking so much about what Malcolm said about progress, right? That when someone puts, I think, is it a 9-inch knife in your back and then they pull it out 3 inches, then they call that progress. And nobody talks about the fact that somebody put a knife in your back and that you haven't healed and can't heal until there's accountability and someone has pulled the knife out your back. Like, that makes me feel like that's where we are at this moment, that people, especially in publishing, people are like, oh, we had 5 books published by a Black author, let's celebrate. I even had a Black radio producer for a white radio host say to me, well, we want to keep the tone celebratory. So if you could maybe not talk about the statistics in publishing. And I thought, wow, have you met me? Like, did you do any kind of research on me? And then it was the white host who was like, let's talk about some of the problems with race in publishing. It's like, let's. Anyway, sorry. Okay. Do we have any more folks who would like to talk or like to share their poem, or anyone? Someone shared a comment about how these activities might be useful in the classrooms. Anyone want to talk about how they're using poetry with their students? I have found in the past that sometimes educators feel personally intimidated by poetry, and that makes them less inclined to use it. And I have to say, if someone said to me, teach some kids how to write sonnets, I would find that intimidating. But I do find that poetry can be such an accessible way for many different kinds of learners to join a conversation. I hope that the activities in Find Your Voice are useful for folks.
Yeah, so I use poetry. The sad part about it is I only get to it in April. So I only, because there's so much preparation work involved with their testing. But I definitely think that children have an opportunity to, again, express their emotions through poetry, and it gives them a space to kind of not be graded or evaluated on what they're thinking.
Absolutely, absolutely. And April is National Poetry Month. I don't know if anybody has ever done NaPoWriMo, but it's National Poetry Writing Month. And it's a really fun challenge to say we're going to write a poem a day for 30 days. And it almost knocked me out the first time I tried it. But now sometimes November, I'll be like, you know what, I need to write a poem a day. And when you develop a practice, right, when you do it every day, it almost becomes less stressful and it's less pressure because it's lower stakes, because you got to write another one tomorrow. So you don't put as much pressure on yourself. It's a really fun activity. And then you can, on social media, people are sharing everything with the hashtag NaPoWriMo. So something to consider. It doesn't have to be April. You can do it whenever. Sanaya says, poetry is a way to freely express how you feel about a subject or teacher respectfully. And they don't like that. We can call them out. That we can call them out through a short stanza. Interesting. You can do a little sort of word battle with poetry. I like that. I'm going to and have been sharing with English humanities teachers that I work with while pushing in because they need it. Yeah, that's great. Michelle, thank you. Thank you for folks using poetry in the classroom. Powerful. I do have a few anthologies. Hop to it. Poems to Get You Moving is for younger kids. And We Rise, We Resist, We Raise Our Voices, an anthology for sort of, I think that's more like 4th grade and up, maybe. Rhyme and Rhythm, poems for student athletes. I just had a poem published in that, I think last fall. So there are some really good collections of poems out there. Lorena says, I'm thinking of using this type of exercise when students are sent to my office to help restore and unpack what happened. Absolutely. That's an excellent idea. You could have them do a quick word association, write down all the words that pop into your mind when you think about how you ended up in my office right now. Yeah. Poetry allows us to discuss sensitive topics. I agree. You know what? I used to only write poems when I was mad. Because when I got mad, I was incoherent. Like I couldn't put a whole sentence together, but I could put 3 or 4 words together. And then I didn't have to think about punctuation or anything. I just sort of spewed it onto the page. And then I could go back over it and edit it and make it make sense. And that's true of trauma, right? Trauma is incoherent. Trauma doesn't make sense. Trauma is incomprehensible. And trauma resists representation, as Elaine Scarry says. So how do you express something that is inexpressible? Sometimes poetry is really the best way to do that. Art is also fantastic. I have a couple of art activities in the Find Your Voice workbook. Thankful for voice to text. Absolutely. Students are learning how to use it. Yeah, that's a great feature. Absolutely. And if they're going to have their phones, they might as well be using for something useful. I tell students that, normally I would say, keep a notebook and then you can just jot things down when it comes to you. But a lot of them will just do a voice memo or text themselves. We have poets of Instagram now, so you can actually pull out Instagram and have them follow some poets on IG. Lots of ways to keep poetry around in the classroom. All right. Well, maybe I will turn it over to Ishmael and Debbie. Do you have any closing remarks?
This has been life-giving. And during Black History Month this month, we explored like all the events, very difficult topics and ideas and discussions. And I appreciate like this kind of landing of like recentering ourselves and like thinking. And I just really want to appreciate you. And I'm also sharing in the chat a wonderful study guide for A Place Inside Me that Debbie Way created. around the book with discussion questions and
Excellent.
resources for folks to have these sensitive conversations, especially with younger students, which is just so important. And Debbie, I believe there's still some books left.
Actually, I have about 25 requests that just came in this week, so there may not be any books left, but we'll see once I get these 25 requests out. We have very few books left out of the 1,000 that we ordered, which is really exciting.
Yeah, and I just want to emphasize that this is what, it's healing my heart, especially like as we see what's happening around the world, things that have been happening that have been neglected, to what is on the front page, which is in the same vein, and it just brings it back of the importance of actually taking this space to just think and acknowledge our feelings. And I definitely want to say I truly appreciate you, Zetta, for coming and doing this, and I hope everybody here also. So those are my closing sentiments. I don't want to start like tearing up on Facebook Live right now.
I just want to thank Zetta so much for your generosity and just your spirit. You have such an amazing, beautiful spirit, and it pours through the screen. And I think y'all can unmute yourselves and give a shout out to Zetta and just say thanks.
You are amazing.
Yep, go ahead. Just unmute and say thanks.
He was amazing. I love all of that.
Thanks, Zetta.
Thank you. Thank you all for spending an evening with me after a long day. I appreciate that very much. And I hope you keep writing, get a notebook, develop your own poetry practice, 5 minutes a day. Yeah.
And Ish, this was recorded on Facebook. I mean, it was a Facebook Live. So you could go back to the school district's Facebook page and share this experience with students and family and friends.
I even went on the page itself and shared my liberation poem from earlier, even though it's just a couple stanzas. But I encourage folks to do that. People need to see that this is real, right? This isn't just something that we're doing for just to spend an evening. We're really trying to become better human beings, man. And you're helping us get us there tonight, Zetta, definitely.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm so honored that you chose my book, 1,000 copies of my book, especially at a moment when, folks are trying to take it out of the hands of kids. I really appreciate that you did the opposite. So
it shows that we're doing the right thing.
Confirmation. Oh, it's messing with the right wing nuts. Check. We did something right.
Well, thank you again. Thank you everyone for coming. It is the last day of Black History Month, but certainly not the last day of Black history for us in the district and across the country, and actually the globe. So Ish, you want to take us out?
Yeah, I just want to plug once again, March 12th, we're having our 4th Africana Studies series, which will, like I was saying at the beginning, have feature some of the most inspiring Black women educators in Philadelphia, who are teachers in the school district of Philadelphia, but also leaders within the school district of Philadelphia, and people who value substance over image. And the tide is turning. We need to find our squad, as Dr. Kamika Royal gave me that wise advice about 7 years ago. And I just encourage folks to really stay in community with one another, to come out to these events that we have and really build a deeper understanding, a critical understanding of this world we live in and where we need to go as we move forward, because we all know where we're at right now and it ain't good. And in order to move forward, we have to dream of something new. With all that being said, again, I'm just humbled to even just be in everybody's presence right here. I thank the students that came out. Teachers, I strongly suggest that you share this to your classes. Folks who are not allowed to do these type of things, I definitely say you do some guerrilla marketing to your students through social media with this. You know, we continue to struggle and resist regardless of what's being taken away. And we're just here to remind people what a lot of us have forgotten. So thank you.
Yeah. All right, take care, everybody. Keep reading, keep
Thank
writing.
you, everyone. Thank you for coming.
Stopped.
Thank you, Zetta.
Ish, is there gonna be a session that looks at Latin, Afro-Latin cultures and?
Yeah, we had a previous discussion 2 weeks ago about Latino and anti-Blackness in the American context.
Man,
Yeah, listen, I sat down and thought about it, and it was an important conversation. So we had some folks who are Afro-Latino and also from Cuba, from Dominican Republic, and we
Yeah.
really got into the guts of that conversation.
okay, was that recorded too?
Yes, it was. And you
Okay.
can also find that on Facebook Live, and all these things, all these events, we'll email MP4 video for all the Black History Month events to everybody on the listserv. Just give us till the end of the week to upload everything, and everybody can have their own personal copy.
Okay, that'll be awesome. Thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
Oh, no, thank you.
All righty, bye-bye.
Ish, I just want to know one thing.